Hello, my name is Homaissi. I'm from the American University, and I'm here to present to you our paper called Towards Diactritizing Arabic Text. And the project we did is called Check It. Check It in Arabic means diactritizing. Now, all of you are wondering what diactritizing means, so I'll get to explain that after I give you a small crash course in Arabic so you understand what I'm talking about. In the outline of my speech, I'm going to introduce the Arabic language and speak about the importance of such a project, the algorithms we used, and the conclusions. The Arabic language. The Arabic language is very different from any other language, and it's very hard to work with it, especially that it has very limited resources online. Now, this is an Arabic sentence, and I see it's messed up the format here. This is supposed to be the same sentence, but for some reason on the left the words mixed up. But to explain to you, this is an Arabic sentence. This means ate the kid the apple. That's the literal meaning, but the sentence means that the kid ate the apple. And if you see here, if you look closely, I don't know if it's visible, there's this sign here. Do you see it? And there's a sign here on the last letter. And there's a sign here that's very visible. But these signs, there are 4 types of signs that affect the meaning of the sentence and words. For example, this is called the fatha, this is called the dhamma, this is called the fatha, and there's also a kasra which comes like this sign that's under the letter, and there's also a sukun, which is a circle above the letter. And the difference between the main difference between the Arabic language and Latin-based languages, for example, like English, is that English sentences always begin with a noun, most of the times. In Arabic sentences, there are 2 different types of sentences. There's the sentences that begin with a verb, which are more common, and there are sentences that begin with a noun, which are less common. Another difference is that in the Arabic sentences, it's not simply built like our English sentences. There's a noun and an object. No, sometimes they can interchange their rule, and sometimes one can come like before another one. For example, here, akala al-walad tufaha, which walad is the kid and tufaha is the apple. They can change places, and they still have to be diactritized like they should be. Akala al-waladu at-tufaha, akala tufahada al-waladu. Okay, if they change places, they still have to be diactritized the same way. So we can't have a rule of like the first word after the verb has to be the one that is doing the verb. Okay, so the kid here is the one that's eating the apple. However, if you give this to the computer, it won't have the same logic of us to understand that apple cannot eat the kid, which is a very bad idea. There are very various Arabic grammar rules that we use them to diactritize the sentences. And here I'm going to show you a difficulty. There's this word akala. Akal means ate. Okay, this with the 4 different signs can have 4 different meanings. If we put the fatha above the ta in the end, akalta means you ate. If you put the dhamma, akaltu means I ate. If you put the sign under the ta, akalti means she ate. No, you, but for a team feminine, for someone feminine. And akalat with the sukun means she ate. And ukilat with a dhamma over the first letter and the sukun over the last letter means it was eaten. So you can see that how complicated it is to determine what tense we're talking about, if it's feminine or masculine. It's a very complicated field. So I'm going to show you what we did. Now, what is the importance of such a project for us in Lebanon and in the Arab world? First of all, Check It diactritizes Arabic sentence, and we get an input of an Arabic sentence, and we diactritize it for it to make more sense. Why were we doing such a project? First of all, it helps a lot with publishing books, because a lot of books have to be published with signs on them, especially if they're for learning, especially for foreigners or children. And instead of giving to someone and them taking around a month to diactritize all of it, it can be run through this program when it's run as a software. It can be run through it, and then someone will have to just double check. It will take a lot less time to publish books through it. And it would also be benefiting maybe newspapers starting using such a, because the only reason they're all printed without the signs is just because it's a hassle. And yeah. And the Arabic language is not really a field that a lot of people do a lot of research to develop it online and develop in the digital world. And this is sort of the goal for us to develop it and make it more usable in digital. In our project, we use the hidden markup model, which is part of the natural language processing world. It's modeled on a statistical knowledge base. We build relations with other states based on the probability of each state. Probability distribution of each state is used to make transitions between states. Now the algorithm. There's something called stemmer. Stemmer is something that's built it's built already, and we built another one for the Arabic language. It differentiates between a verb and a noun without going for a database or anything, because it's quicker to do it quickly like that. Then it goes over grammar rules, but of course it's not done there because it's very complicated. And then it goes into checking the database for, I'll explain it to you, I'll go in depth, more in-depth explanation later. And then it goes over grammar rules again to make sure that the sentence makes sense, and to diactritize it again in case we gathered more clues onto what entity in the sentence is doing the verb and what entity is being eaten. Like for example, the kid and the apple. We use the POS tagging. It's Dr. Eric Brill's tagger. We use it in a rule-based and stochastic algorithms, and we use it to identify different word categories. For example, tufaha, which is the apple, as an object. Shariba is a verb, which means drink. We assign tags based on the frequency of each word. After we go through the grammar rules and diactritize all we can in a sentence, some words are still not diacritized. We don't know what they are. We go into a database. We got a database from Leeds University of Arabic words after they got a lot of newspapers and put them together a database, and we got all the words, and we got a small pool of words just to make sure that our rules are working on them and everything is working with like different, they had different variation of types of sentences and conditions and situations and conditions. So for example, al-walad, which is the kid, has a frequency of 1,284 times coming as a fa'il, which is the one that's doing the verb. If a word is known, like for example, we go through the sentence and we know that when we have the word in the database, it will be tagged by the most frequent tag in the database. However, if the word is unknown, it will be tagged as none. After it's tagged as none, and we go over again, I explained to you before, we go over, we can build the grammar rules again. If we can determine after tagging the words through the database, we can determine what's the role of this word, what we can tag it as, we'll tag it. We'll change the noun into something else. Insert tags will be changed using set of predefined rules, which are the grammatical rules. Now, this is how it's processed. We analyze the user input, as I explained before. Then we do the part of speech tagging. Then we analyze the part of speech tagging together with the clues, and then we have the final sentence with diacritization. This is a sentence. يلعب الطفل الكبير الجميل في المدرسة الصغيرة. It's tokenized into different words, and then we look for the verb in the sentence. If the verb is in the beginning of the sentence, then it's a verbal sentence, the sentence that starts with the verb. If the verb was not the first word in the sentence, which we determined using the standard, then the sentence starts with the noun, and it's a different chain from the one we used for the verb, because it's a different structure. It's all done differently, and you can't have two verbs in one sentence in Arabic unless there was a separator between the sentences, like an and or comma or a dot. It's separating two different sentences. So the particular flagging, the word is a verb, we assign types specified for verbs. There are different types of verbs because there are different types of the singular and plural verbs. There are different tenses in the verbs. So we analyze it and we assign it specifically, for example, past tense verb or present tense verb, because that affects how the sentence is directed. If a word is noun, we check in the database for its category in case we can't determine what is its role using our grammatical rules. And then we tag the word with the category that has the highest frequency. Of course, this can sometimes be a mistake, which will be later rectified using the second checking of the grammatical rules on the sentence. However, of course, if it's not determined, then it's an error. Here's an example. We have the sentence that we explained before, the kid ate the apple. This is it, it's talking out like that, and then it is tagged. This is a past tense verb, PSTV. This akal. Walad is a human, and Faha is an object. And then this is easily done, easily diacritized, because you can see that this, with this letter at the end, it's feminine. This is masculine, and the tense of the verb is masculine. Therefore, this is the noun that is doing the verb onto the other noun. Thus, this gets the dhamma for it being fa'al, the one that's doing the verb, and this gets the fatha. And if we get the same sentence and we exchange the order of the sentence with akala tufaha al-wada, which is an occurrence in the Arabic language, it will still be diacritized the same way. Not this won't get the dhamma and this won't get the fatha. It won't have the meaning of an apple ate the kid. It will still be diacritized the same way because it's looking at the tense of the verb and the masculine or feminine. But in more complex sentences, we have to go for the database tagging of the words to see if they are which one is the one that is doing the verb. And this, of course, is in relation of the verb, because sometimes in some verbs, like this, and it's always the kid is eating the apple. It can't change. But in some verbs, the probabilities and percentages differ from other sentences and other verbs. So with a small pool that we have, in sentences like this is tagged with the human and object, and with this verb, the human is the one that's always doing the thing over the object, because an object cannot eat human. It really happens, unfortunately. For future goals and objectives, we need to cover more grammar rules, and we need to develop more accurate strategies, of course, making our percentages better. And we need to populate the database more because we have a large pool of words. We need to input and type them accurately to be able to work with the project. As a conclusion, Jekyll is still a fetus with a lot of room for growth. Still, and hope it will be as beneficial as we think it will be for the Arabic world, for people that are trying to publish books, for the newspapers, and especially for foreigners that are trying to learn the Arabic language. Thank you. Any questions?
Can you get back a little bit about the motivation of this question? I don't understand very well. Why would someone want to write a book without properly diacritizing his text? Is it difficult to type in diacritics in Arabic?
No, Yes, because not everyone is an expert with the rules. Like for someone that's typing the book, he wants to type the Arabic and without thinking about should this have this sign or this sign.
It's a problem of kind of knowledge of the writer. Okay.
Yeah,
it's a kind of a hassle to pay attention. You mean?
Yes, it's a very big hassle to pay attention to these things, and this is why there are people the experts that have to go and do it for them. As they get paid to do this.
It's a job to diacritize the text.
And it's not done typically in normal stuff. Like newspapers, they don't even do it at all, right?
Yeah, and I think they should. Because for example, for me as a kid, when I was trying to read the newspaper, I couldn't really read it very well because some things didn't make sense because I was used to reading them with signs like diacritized at school. All the books we have are diacritized. Everything that's still done for education is diacritized. And for example, and also I have friends that come study Arabic at the university. They come from different parts of the world. They also have them all diacritized. How can if they're learning everything that's diacritized? How can they move and transition into something that's not diacritized when it's even hard for me to do that as a kid? Now I'm older, it's easier. So maybe then they can diactritize everything, and also governmental documents as well, which are not diacritized.
As you start improving this, one thing you probably need to do is come up with some kind of accuracy metric. I didn't see you describe any of that outside of it.
Sorry,
accuracy.
Yeah.
A metric to tell you how
accurate.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we need to do.
You may need some kind of a database to test it on.
Yeah.
And to improve.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you again. We'll bring your vocabulary last presentation.